Today on Public Eye News, a cleanup effort at Parscale and a teen is seriously injured in an accident.
Later in the show, Landon Iodice will have your weather and Scott Minshaw will be back to give you the sports for the day. I'm Devontae Stein.
And I'm Scott Minshaw. Thank you for watching Public Eye News. Good news today for those who enjoy reading in Marquette. The Peter White Public Library has fully reopened as of today. While the library has been open by appointment only since July, it officially completely reopened today. The library has implemented COVID-19 precautions to keep visitors and employees safe. These precautions include, but are not limited to, wearing a mask at all times while inside the building, social distancing wherever possible, and keeping trips to the library as brief and to the point as possible. A number of programs are still operating out of the library, mainly through virtual channels, though the children's room is still giving out monthly make-and-take craft bags for anyone interested. The Moosewood Nature Center hosted a cleanup event at Parscale Park this past weekend. Volunteers from NMU and the Clean UP initiative helped Saturday afternoon by picking up trash all around the park. Eric Johnson of the Moosewood Nature Center Board of Directors said, quote, "We have the NMU Medicinal Plant Chemistry Club out here today. It's one of the newer clubs on campus with the start of that new program. They're out there as troopers cleaning up quite a bit of trash. I was out there earlier today and we're happy to have students becoming involved now," end quote. Johnson said that the next Parscale cleanup weekend are scheduled for October 10th and 24th from 12 to 4 p.m., meeting first at the Nature Center.
Downtown Marquette became a stage of passionate demonstrations for racial justice Saturday. A memorial held in honor of Breonna Taylor quickly turned tense. Chants of, quote, "Say her name, Breonna Taylor," unquote, can be heard from the protesters, followed by counter-protesters across the street chanting back, quote, "She's a criminal," end quote. This protest comes in wake of the civil unrest across the country following the grand jury's decision not to charge the Louisville police officers in the killing of Breonna Taylor. Protester Carolyn Caneda said, quote, "At all the people that live their lives blind to the fact that the injustices are still happening today, we need to bring light that it happens every day, and that is being a voice out here, so I'm going to continue to do it," unquote. The memorial for Breonna Taylor took place along the steps of the United States Postal Service building on Washington and 3rd Street, a high-traffic area at the heart of downtown Marquette. An Ishpeming teen is in serious condition tonight after being struck by a vehicle on US 41. According to the Marquette County Sheriff's Department, the 19-year-old man was walking along the edge of the road around 6:25 a.m. Saturday when he was struck by a mid to large-sized vehicle. A 39-year-old man from Marquette County was driving the vehicle. The teen was transported to UPHS Marquette. According to the driver, he was heading east when he came up on the teen walking along the road edge and fog line. The driver claims the teen was wearing dark clothing and that avoiding him was not possible. The Marquette County Sheriff's Department says that alcohol could have been a factor, but the investigation is still underway.
On Monday, Governor Gretchen Whitmer and Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist highlighted new data from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services showing significant progress has been made towards reducing the impact of COVID-19 on communities of color. The state of Michigan has created the Rapid Response Grant Program to help local organizations continue the administration's effort to tackle racial disparities. While black residents only make up 15% of Michigan's population, they represented a staggering 29.4% of the cases and 40.7% of the deaths in the early days of tracking COVID-19 data based on race. Last week, we reported on an update in the search for a missing Wisconsin woman. New evidence has reignited the search for Jean Fullerton, who has been missing since 2017. The local sheriff's department and others organized a search party to search a new area near Fullerton's former home. According to Marinette County Sheriff Jerry Sauve, clothes and bones that appear to be human were both found about 2 miles from Fullerton's home during a search Sunday. The remains will be forensically examined for confirmation that they are that of the missing woman. The Fullerton family, Wagner Fire Department, and Sheriff's Office thanks all the volunteers for their assistance in the searches that have been conducted in this case. After this break, we will have your national and international news.
Diabetes. It affects over 100 million Americans.
How are you even standing here? You're supposed to be in a coma.
Today, new drugs and technologies make diabetes more manageable.
This is so far beyond anything that we've had.
But diabetes rates are still skyrocketing.
Very painful death.
So why isn't there a war on diabetes?
Tonight at 9 on WNMU-TV.
President Donald Trump's former campaign manager, Brad Parscale, has been hospitalized after he threatened to harm himself. Police officers talked Parscale out of his home after his wife called police to say that they had multiple firearms and was threatening to hurt himself when he was hospitalized Sunday under the state's Baker Act. This act allows anyone deemed to be a threat to themselves or others to be detained for 72 hours for psychiatric evaluation. Parscale was demoted from the campaign manager's post in July, but remained part of the campaign, helping run its digital operation. Over the summer, he hyped up 1 million ticket requests for the president's comeback rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma, that ended up drawing just 6,000 people. A furious Trump was left staring at a sea of empty seats and weeks later promoted Bill Steinman to campaign manager. Under the state's red flag law, officials could ask a judge to bar Parscale from possessing any weapons for up to a whole year. The Times says it's obtained more than 2 decades of President Trump's tax return data that the president has spent years trying to conceal. The bombshell report reveals a sharp discrepancy between the president's public images and his private practices in business. Deborah Alfarone reports from the White House.
President Trump is blasting the New York Times report that claims he paid just $750 in federal income taxes in 2016 and 2017.
Totally fake news. No, actually I paid tax, and you'll see that as soon as my tax returns. It's under audit. They've been under audit for a long time.
The report shows he paid nothing at all in 10 out of 15 years, largely because his many namesake businesses reported losing much more money than they made, including his golf courses. The report also shows Mr. Trump took tax deductions on what some people would consider personal expenses, including housing, aircraft, and $70,000 in hairstyling for television appearances. And even though President Trump vowed to no longer pursue any new businesses once elected, the Times reports he made $73 million from foreign deals during his first 2 years in the White House. The president has also reportedly benefited from a nearly $73 million tax refund, which is now the subject of a decade-long IRS audit. And he reportedly has hundreds of millions in debt due in the coming years.
An attorney for the Trump Organization tells CBS News that the New York Times story is, quote, riddled with gross inaccuracies. He says that the president has paid tens of millions of dollars in personal taxes to the federal government over the past decade.
Shortly after the Times report, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer tweeted, "Raise your hand if you paid more in federal income tax than President Trump." And Joe Biden's presidential campaign released this commercial. Mr. Trump is the only president in modern history to not release his tax returns. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, the White House.
Authorities in Belarus have detained 500 people during protests against the country's authoritarian president, who claimed his 6th consecutive term in office recently. About 100,000 demonstrators marched out of the Belarus capital of Minsk on Sunday, demanding the resignation of President Alexander Lukashenko, who has cracked down hard on opposition and independent news media during his 26 years in power. Hundreds of thousands of citizens have been protesting daily since the August 9th presidential election, which officials claim handed Lukashenko, a 66-year-old former state farm director, a victory with 80% of the vote. A devastating second wave of coronavirus have sent the numbers of cases across Europe soaring again, and it comes as the global death toll from the virus nears 1 million. Riley Carlson reports from London.
India is reporting new coronavirus cases faster than any other country, over 6 million, and there are concerns it will soon surpass the number of infections in the U.S., the hardest hit country in the world. With the high number of infections, the government should take some big steps, says this man. But new government restrictions are becoming a source of frustration elsewhere. Bars and restaurants in major French cities have had to close early. In the port city of Marseille, they have to close altogether. Hospital beds are filling up with the highest number of patients since June, and there are fears intensive care units will be overwhelmed. In London, many are protesting against new government control measures as the infection rate climbs. Thousands of university students have been told to self-isolate amid outbreaks. Many classes have now gone online.
It's just really rough at the moment, and we're just really disheartened by the whole entire situation.
Some lawmakers are already questioning if they'll be allowed to travel home for Christmas. Riley Carlson, CBS News, London.
After this break, we will be back with your weather and sports.
taking the stage. It's time for these two candidates to meet.
If you can't beat him in a debate, you got a big problem.
Who has what it takes to lead us through these tough times?
We're in the battle for the soul of the nation.
How will the candidates handle their first one-on-one? A PBS NewsHour Vote 2020 election special, the first presidential debate.
Tuesday night at 9 on WNMU-TV.
Welcome back. This is your weather. I'm Landon Nidice, and right behind me you could see a nice view of Northern Michigan University. Unfortunately, today it is currently having some rain showers with a temperature of 53 degrees. The winds are north-northwest at 11 miles per hour, and the pressure is 29.7 inches and falling. Looking to tonight, it's going to be mostly cloudy with a low of 51 degrees and winds northwest of 10 miles per hour. And then looking into tomorrow, it's going to be mostly cloudy with a high of 56 degrees with winds of west at 10 miles per hour. Looking into the UP, there's rain showers all around the UP, starting at the east with Sault Ste. Marie. It is 57 degrees with rain showers. Down into Manistee, it is currently 57 degrees and cloudy. Escanaba, it is 55 degrees with rain showers. Down in Menominee, it is 55 degrees and cloudy. Now looking to the western half, we have Iron Mountain at 52 degrees and with showers. Then we have Ironwood at 51 degrees and cloudy. Up to Houghton, we have 55 degrees and cloudy, and then we're back to Marquette with 53 degrees and rain showers. Looking into ahead, we're still going to expect some more rain showers. On Wednesday, we have 53 degrees as a high with a low of 42 degrees. Thursday, with the same with rain showers with a high of 46 degrees and a low of 37 degrees. Friday is going to be mostly cloudy with a high of 44 degrees and a low of 35 degrees. Now over to Scott for sports.
Thanks a lot, and then jumping right into the action going on in the NHL, Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals is tonight at 8 o'clock. The Tampa Bay Lightning lead the series with 3-2 over the Dallas Stars. Both teams have been battling throughout the series, with Dallas winning Game 5 in double overtime to keep their season alive. Tampa Bay will be without their captain, Steven Stamkos, because of a recurring injury which kept him sidelined for most of the playoffs. Lightning coach John Cooper commended Stamkos for even playing the one game he did in the series, as he was expected to not play at all this year. If needed after tonight's game, Game 7 of the series will be played on Wednesday. Moving on to the NFL, Week 3 took place over the weekend, and it was jam-packed. The Philadelphia Eagles took on the Cincinnati Bengals in Philadelphia, and the game resulted in a tie after neither team was able to score in overtime. The game pushes both teams to records of a winningless 0-2-1. Moving on to the Bears game, the electric 243 pounds of straight athletic domination that is Nick Foles led the Chicago Bears to an unbelievable victory over the Atlanta Falcons. Foles replaced starter Mitch Trubisky and led the Bears to victory after trailing by 16 points. Foles threw the game-winning touchdown pass just after the 2-minute warning and kept the Bears' undefeated record alive. The loss moves the Falcons to 0-3. There's only two words to describe the NBA right now, and they are this league. After the weekend, the conference finals wrapped up, and we now have set the 2020 NBA Finals. The Miami Heat will be looking to take on the LA Lakers, and a self-proclaimed bucket, better known as Tyler Hero, has erupted over this postseason for the Heat, putting up insane numbers throughout the conference finals. Miami has an all-star cast of players, including Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, and Duncan Robinson. The Lakers have just as much talent with the likes of LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Kyle Kuzma. This is set to be a great series with Game 1 tip-off set for Wednesday night. Well, Devontae, I have the Lakers in the finals. Who you got?
I got the Heat in the finals, honestly. I think the young core of Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson together are really going to come forth and beat the Lakers. I think LeBron's getting a little old, and it's his time to move on from the league. Let some of the younger stars to get a better chance. But that's all the time we have today for you on Public Eye News. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow.
The preceding program was produced by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television, in studios located in Elizabeth and Edgar Hardin Hall.